this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Lumex Smartpod Android-based Pico Projector. This projector has not only the Android operating system, it also has the Google Play App Store, as well as Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And so at this point I've spent several hours kind of playing with the projector, watching video on it, and I'm really impressed with the level of brightness that's produced by this small projector. Now I've got an Epson, it's called an Epson Duet, D-U-E-T, projection screen. It's an 80-inch projection screen, and I'll be reviewing it in a separate video. It actually comes in two parts. It has the tripod base and then the projection screen itself that it's easy to quickly assemble it and disassemble it, and it folds up in a fairly small form factor that could easily be installed into a closet. So you can see that I'm in a moderately lit room at this point. Actually, you can see that there's a number of lights up there, and yet the projector is still able to really illuminate the screen quite well. Now, of course, the picture gets much better once I turn off the lights and make it very dark in here. Then the projector produces an even better picture with better contrast, because with the light it sort of ends up washing it out a little bit. So the projector itself, I'm very impressed with it. Now I'll be talking about the Android operating system is really designed for phones, and so with when you put it on a projector, then the projector obviously is only in landscape mode, and so then that presents a problem. How are you going to scroll down? And that's one of the problems with this. Of course, this has a little touch screen that functions as a mouse, but it doesn't seem to include a method for scrolling down. And since it's not it's not possible to scroll with the touchpad, fortunately, with this included remote control, which there you can make the arrows out. With the included remote control, these arrow keys function as a mouse, and then the OK button in the center functions as a click. So if I want to scroll down, if I just hit the down arrow key, I got to make sure that I aim it at the infrared port right there. Then I can scroll down and up, and you can see that there goes the screen as I scroll. So they do give you the ability to scroll up and down, and then therefore that gives you complete access to the Android operating system. Now, I think it would probably work better if I would plug a mouse into the projector, or set it up through Bluetooth, because this does have Bluetooth. If I would set a mouse up that had a scroll wheel, I could probably accomplish the same thing a little bit easier than I can by using the buttons here on the remote control. Now, you've also got the 3 Android buttons on the top. You can see that it might be a little difficult to see that they're illuminated, but you get like if I touch the home button, then we can see that we're back home, and so that's the main screen that pops up when you first turn the projector on. And so if I scroll up and then if I hit for Android and I tap that, then we end up at the basically the Android home screen that they have set up to show up, because this is a little bit different than if you're familiar with an Android phone. It's going to be different than this. So you can also see that now I'm scrolling down, and some of these apps I've installed, a couple of apps such as Hulu Plus. I installed that. I also had to update all the apps, and that happened via the Google Play Store. And so if we go to the Google Play Store right there, you can see that it's the normal Google Play Store, and sometimes it's necessary to reach up here with the touchpad on top in order to kind of accomplish what I want to accomplish. So again, I think what I would need to do would be to just get a Bluetooth mouse that's got a scroll wheel, which I actually have somewhere. I can find one of those, and that would make it easier to kind of navigate around the Android that's built into the projector. Okay, so now I'm in Hulu Plus, and I'm gonna just pick kind of a random. It says it's a movie, so it's probably, I don't know. There's some weird movies in here in Hulu Plus, so I'm just gonna pick one at random. Whatever this Perfect Human Diet is, I have no idea, but I'm gonna go ahead and tap on it and play the movie. Now you can see that it makes the screen wiggle whenever I tap this touchpad on top of the projector itself. So let's see if I can go ahead and get the movie to play. There we go. Alright. So now it's beginning to buffer. And I do have a light on in the other room, and you can probably make out the fact that there's some light that's reflecting from the screen that is, it's kind of covering part of the screen. There's a shadow covering part of the screen. So there we go. There's the thing is starting. Now I don't want to play too much of this because I don't want to get into trouble with YouTube and copyright issues. But there we see it's kind of starting up. Now I do have it attached to the sound is going through Bluetooth. So if I walk around, coming up close to the screen right here, and you can see that the screen's got a pretty good side. Maybe you still see the image even at extreme angles. So if I go over this way, there's the projector, and the screen has automatically adjusted. So the projector itself is kind of showing up as a small dot unless I get right in it, and then it's there. You can see that it's kind of causing a massive lens flare. So now I've turned on the light to kind of give you a better idea of the layout. And so it is, the light does wash the screen out, but it still is viewable.
Following USDA's low-fat, high-carb food pyramid recommendations.
Okay, so right here, I've got this tuned into a it's HSN, their app actually, and so I'm going to move this very close to the screen, and so I'm getting my own shadow in there. You can see my shadow right there. So you can see that as long as I'm focused properly, This is a quarter HD, so I'm getting a little bit of buffering going on with this particular feed. But you can see that it's a quarter HD, so it's less, that's about 1/4 of HD. So it's not, even though it's being interpolated to 720p, it's not real, it's not actual 720p. But, I am blowing it up to an 80-inch screen. So, if I were, had it more like a 40, if I were closer and had it into like a 40-inch screen, then obviously it would appear to be much sharper than what it does. But as it is, this is pretty good for such a tiny size projector. Most of these projectors are doing quarter, or it's QHD or quarter HD. And another problem that I'm noticing is that at least with the Bluetooth, I am getting lip sync issues. Now, if you notice, the sound does not match the lips, and so there's a little bit of a delay going on there. I'll test it without the Bluetooth and just using the little tiny speakers that are built into the projector, and we'll see what the difference is. So I've turned off the Bluetooth, and the speakers that are built into the projector itself, which is right in front of me, they're not very loud, and that's also another common complaint for these types of projectors, is the kind of lack of sound. Now, it does have a headphone jack, so if you're in a location where you can't really hear it and you're trying to watch it and you don't have a Bluetooth speaker, then you would be able to plug headphones into it and listen to it. Now, there's still some lip syncing issues. And the lip syncing issue does seem to be similar to what was going on with the Bluetooth. So I'm going to try a different app, and we'll see if other apps are suffering from the same lip sync issue. Okay, so I've tuned into a different stream. This is QVC. So I wish that they would show, they're busy kind of showing their jewelry. I wish they'd show the woman's face so I could see her talking. But it seems to be more in sync, because as she gestures, as she talks, that part seems to be in sync. But maybe in a minute they'll show her face, and then I can see her talking.
Credit cards and get it home on Easy Pay in about a week's time. Carol from Washington, good evening. How are you? I want to say good evening, good morning. It's kind of, it's kind of in that time zone where I'm not sure what it is, How are you doing tonight, Carol?
Oh, I'm doing real good.
For the very first time.
Well, I couldn't believe you had that gold rush sale, and I looked around yesterday for jewelry, and it was didn't have much gold in it, and I got the one place I paid twice as much as what I got here.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so this stream, the QVC, seems to be in perfect sync. because I did see her mouth move, and it pretty much matched the sound.
Or, yeah, was it? Oh my goodness, yeah, that's a beauty. That's actually what I'm wearing, is the 24-inch.
See, so that seems to match. So I would say that it's just the HSN app that seems to have a problem. Okay, now I have turned on a Netflix movie. We've gone back to the Bluetooth, and so there does seem to be a lip sync issue right here.
I think everybody in the area knows somebody who has had cancer and suspect that it's been linked to TMI. When you start talking about nuclear-powered health effects, it makes people uncomfortable, and it should, because there is a nexus, there is a connection. Exposure to radiation is not a good thing. Every exposure is a potential overexposure. That's reality. They get their arms around.
Okay, now I've turned off the Bluetooth. We're back on the speaker built into the projector.
Okay. No. Okay. Let's go.
Okay, now we seem to have much better lip sync. So the Bluetooth, there's definitely an issue with the Bluetooth being off compared with the picture.
We're going out giving grand rounds in Yale, Harvard, all over, teaching the medical profession about the dangers of nuclear power.
Although if you look at that, there does still seem to be some lip sync issues, maybe. But they're showing some kind of an old film too, so that may have a problem in and of itself.
No radiation is safe, and already background radiation produces 20 to 30%.
Now that right there, which is part of the movie that they made, that seems to be in sync. So I'd say that there is a little bit of an issue with the Bluetooth sound being off a little bit compared with the picture. So now we're ready to draw some conclusions. So I've made a list right here. The fan, it's got a built-in fan, is extremely quiet. I've watched quite a few videos on a number of the other models of Picomax projectors, different models, different brands, and a lot of the people are complaining that even in the Picomax projectors, or the Pico projectors rather, that the fans can be noisy. This fan, it can barely be heard. It's a very quiet fan. The box says built-in stereo speakers. However, it sure sounds to me like there's one speaker, and that obviously is a mono speaker. Now the system itself is stereo, so it's Bluetooth stereo, or if you plug in stereo headphones into it, that is stereo. But the built-in speaker is also very quiet, and it's so quiet that if there's any noise in the environment at all, it's probably going to be unusable, kind of depending on how far your ears are away from the projector. So, with this projector, you really need to have some sort of earbuds or headphones, or better yet, Bluetooth. Now, as far, in the video, I was kind of talking about the lip sync issues, and what I've watched additionally, and what I've come to the conclusion that the lip sync, from one app to the next, it can be different. Sometimes it works perfectly, even when it didn't before. So that, I don't know, there may be some Wi-Fi issues or speed issues that are involved. It's hard to say. But so that the lip sync is a problem a lot of times with just videos in general, especially videos on YouTube. And there are lip sync issues in my own videos that I post to YouTube. So that's just a problem that in the world of professional video on television, the people that are really the pros at it, they got to get the lip sync right. But in the world of consumer video, especially consumer produced video, it is an issue. And internet video in general, you can have lip sync problems, and that's not something that really bothers me all that much. But just be aware of it. Okay, so there's virtually no documentation included with the unit. The only documentation, there's nothing explaining what to do, other than they had like a sticker saying, on the thing saying to charge the battery before turning it on, and a few little things like that. But other than that, there is no documentation in the box. Now, if you go to the Lumex website, there is a PDF file you can download for the unit, and it gives you really rudimentary instructions, but it doesn't, it really, you're going to have to become familiar with the unit in order to kind of figure it out. So you got to be somewhat technical to work with this, at least this particular unit. And I would suggest if you be familiar with Android. If you're familiar with Android on a phone, if you're pretty familiar with it, then you're going to be able to probably figure the Android and the projector out. But if you're not familiar with Android, I could see where it could be kind of an issue, and it would be sort of frustrating because you're basically learning a new operating system. And basically this is a computer built into a projector, and Android is a computer operating system. So you want to be familiar with Android, and that's probably true with any of the smart projectors that have Android built into them. The included remote control and the touchpad on top of the unit are both required for effective navigation. You really need both of them, so don't lose the remote or you're going to be in trouble. And then the final thing that I wanted to say, this afternoon, I met a friend for lunch. And this friend that I have, I know he's interested in projectors because about 4 years ago he bought a home projector for his he built a projector room in his house, in his basement, and so he's had this thing for about 4 years, and he's got this room set up, and he's kind of into it. And so I told him about the projector. I have lunch with him usually about once a month, and I told him about it, and so I took it with me to show it to him. And so we were in the restaurant. We were in this Mexican restaurant, and so we're sitting in this booth, and there's a wall right beside, and so I turned the projector on because it runs on batteries, and I had my hotspot, a Verizon hotspot with me. And so I used, I played Hulu. I played some video from Hulu, and and I was just displaying it on the wall right there, just really close up. And then I swung it around and up on the ceiling, and I ended up with I'd say a 45 to 50 inch image of the ceiling, in the restaurant. And but in any case, the staff of the restaurant, about 4 different people, kind of all of a sudden, they were just enthralled with that projector. They couldn't believe it. They said that they never had seen anything like that before. One of them said he was going to buy one for his mother, and so these things in public can, if you're demonstrating it in public, they can, be prepared. If there are people around, be prepared to see some excited people. You know, so that makes me wonder, the people that are producing these things, it makes me wonder if how well they're doing their marketing. Because if it's one thing to put it in, like a Best Buy store or something, and maybe people walk by and see it and maybe they don't, but on the other hand, if you see someone that has one, especially one that's able to stream directly off the internet, stream video directly off the internet, there's a real wow factor to that. And so I was kind of surprised, a little surprised by that. So that is my review of the Lumex Picomax Smartpod Pico Projector that includes Android as the operating system.